For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio. We are back. Joe Castello back with you following the NHRA Arizona Nationals, the final rounds of the rain-postponed Lucas Oil Winternationals. And we're getting ready for the Vegas 4-wide Nationals this weekend. It's going to be a very busy show. Those of you out there on YouTube, out there on X, out there on Facebook, wherever or however you're watching, we ask you to share the show, repost, whatever you want to do so that we can build up the audience. We got a huge audience. If you're out there watching on PowerTube TV, hello to you. Welcome as well. We've got Austin Prock going to be on the show. Hopefully, Austin is out there on the road. We're trying to connect with him as we speak, as he makes the trek from Arizona to Vegas. Two races that are relatively close to one another, and I'm hoping for some crowd that hits back to back. Why would you not drive the 5 hours to go to Vegas one way or another? Maybe you drove from Vegas to Arizona and now you're at your home race. But what a weekend it was. We're going to get into it. Of course, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, also scheduled to join us, and we're going to break it all down. A couple of different races. John Force getting his 156th career win. That is a tremendous story. I really want to go in depth on that. I want to think about it. I want us all to think about what it means for an athlete who is about to be 75 years old to go head to head with a 30-some-odd-year-old 250-pound world champion in any sport. Think of the sport, whatever sport you can come up with, and whoop them, beat them. Not whoop them. All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean whoop them, but win the race. That's all that matters. See a problem with drag racing right there. Well, he didn't run 3:92 to beat him, outrunning him and getting a whole shot victory, so he didn't whoop him. All right, I concede that. The win light came on. Isn't really that all that matters. So, John Force, win number 156. The downside, we had less than 24 hours to digest it, to celebrate. And then Austin Prock goes out there and gets it done, wins his first race. What a weekend for the John Force Racing Funny Cars. We'll get into that. Pro Stock, KB Titan. Dallas Glenn beats Erica. Kind of long shot right there. Certainly the odds makers felt like it was a long shot, but track conditions were a little tricky out there for Pro Stock. And so Dallas wins, and then Greg Anderson comes back on Sunday and wins. Greg Anderson, what was that, win 104? GA says they didn't outpower him, they outraced him. And if you're a Pro Stock team, that's got to make you proud, certainly. And Top Fuel, Shawn Langdon, 2 out of 3 for Shawn Langdon. Brian Houston, he's pretty good at this. We knew that already. All right. Reinhardt's down there. He is about to join us. Austin Prock will be joining us a couple of minutes from now. Again, we ask you to share and repost wherever you're watching, because that builds the audience, right? Because we want to let everybody know about the NHRA and the momentum we have and what a great event it was, and so many different storylines. We're going to get into all of it, but I want to make sure that everybody knows about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO, like Bernie Speed Shop. Bernies.com, BURNYZZ.com. This is Josh Hart's home business, the mothership, Fearless Racing, and they do frame-off restorations. They can do anything that you need. They do, props for movies. They do some things that we're not even allowed to talk about. But the way I see it is, in our audience, people are interested in buying unique, classic, and exotic cars, and maybe you've got one that you want to sell. And that's where Josh can really help you. That's where he can really help you. Like, you could put a for sale sign on your car, and how many people are going to see it? How many people that are really interested in what you got are going to see it? When you go to Bernie's, they can target the audience that is going to buy your car for more. And so reach out to them, BURNYZZ.com, Bernie Speed Shop, and check them out. Also, CWT Industries. We're going to have a break after the Charlotte 4-wide, as in a little break in the action. We're going to bring Randy Neal on. We're going to talk about balance machines. So plan, mark it down. How important is the balance of your engine? The most important, right? Talk about robbing horsepower and damaging parts. If you're out of balance, you're out of balance. It's as simple as that. If it rotates, it can be balanced. Go to CWTindustries.com to find out more, and stay tuned to WFO Radio because we'll be educating you. Foggit, 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 available at Summit, available at Amazon, available at Foggit.com. Every house needs a can. Every race car needs a can. It is the cheapest insurance to protect the inside of your engine. And not like these, I hate to call them snake oil, right? But this has got a specific purpose to inhibit rust and microscopic corrosion inside your cylinders. We're talking about what happens to the rings. That's not good. Look at that. That is rust. What happens to the rings, valve seats? Can rust. What happens to the hone? Can rust. Foggit slows all that down, especially after you've put it away for the night. Told you a little bit about FTI performance transmissions and torque converters. Told you a little bit about Total Seal piston rings. And of course, the folks at Phillips-Connect.com with their smart trailer technology. Always supporting WFO. They had a pretty good weekend out there with Justin Ashley as well. Later on in the show, we'll tell you about Frank Hawley's drag racing school. A couple of their grads doing very well. Tell you about samtech.edu. And of course, my main man, Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. He's got an Eclipse blend of his Stampede of Speed coffee. So the Eclipse blend is obviously dark roasted. You don't have to be a genius to figure that one out. Like super dark roasted. And we already love the Stampede of Speed blend. So go check it out. RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. All right, let's bring on Reinhart. Let's bring on Reinhart from Tucson, Arizona, right close to his house. A tremendous victory. Oh, no.
Are you there?
Oh, Alan, you didn't look up at the Eclipse, did you?
I watched the whole thing. It was awesome.
Oh, no.
Are you there? Are you over here?
We're over
Where'd you
here,
go, Joe?
Alan. Oh, we're over here, Alan. Did you watch it?
All good.
What's your take on the Eclipse, Alan?
I didn't watch the Eclipse. I took a picture. I saw pictures of the Eclipse. I mean, I saw
There
a
you
little
go.
bit of it.
That's it.
That's
what it looked
out
like.
at the racetrack yesterday. But yeah, it's an Eclipse. I mean, okay. I know it doesn't happen very often, and I know, but it's like, okay, it's an Eclipse. It's been happening for millions of years. So,
how many have you witnessed? All right, so I'm with you. Just so you know, I'm not going to push back. This isn't point counterpoint. You and I are kind of on the same page. I watched it from bed on television. I figured that will be a much better deal. The people out there at Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis, I'm sure they had a great time. Totality. Oh man, it's cold. The crickets are cricking. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an Eclipse. Like I said, I was at the racetrack, and like, the old hold a piece of paper up and a piece of paper up, and you can kind of see it that way. And there were a couple of guys that were out there looking at it through a welding helmet, which obviously is another way to do it. But I was really more interested in the cars that were going down the racetrack than I was in what was going on 93 million miles away.
So I said it on Ignition. We had a wonderful Ignition show last night. Just tremendous. Everybody chiming in, but everybody's got their own thing. I am down with space and spaceships and all that stuff. And, I'm all into all of it. Right. But I don't know. That one didn't it didn't move me. Like if I was closer, maybe, but coming back, I've seen Robert Hight go 339 point something in a funny car in person. Right.
Yeah.
I seen that in purpose. That got me going. That was provocative. It got me interested. To each his own. I just didn't. I prefer to watch the Eclipse on television. That's all. Mark Rabilis. This guy got on a plane. He had a drone. He got some amazing shots. Everybody's got to follow Mark Rabilis on Twitter, by the way, just for the photographs, certainly. But he put a lot of effort into it. And if I was a photographer, look at this shot. I got this shot, Alan. This is my photograph. What do you think of this?
Off your TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the classic Ring of Fire. No, but Mark Rabilis is a professional photographer. So if he wants to add those photos to his portfolio, and he wants to, then I completely understand that. I go to great lengths to go watch a lot of drag racing. There are a lot of people that go, "You did what? Isn't that going to be on TV?"
Right.
But it's something that I do and something that I'm passionate about. So to each his own. And so it was okay. It was an Eclipse, and the sun went dark and the sun came back. Now, if it went out and stayed out, that would be a little more annoying. But it came back. So
it came back. Right. Well, listen, Alan, believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there who they call them flat earthers because they will fight you. They will fight.
I know
you.
those people are located all over the globe.
Right. I want to know what their take on how this eclipse is happening, though. Like, now is the perfect time to go to the flat earthers and say, guys, explain that. And, notice no one does, though, because I think everybody loves the flat earthers a little bit. They're kind of fun. They're like every once in a while, like, hey, there's those flat earth people, just like I'm doing right now, to set up a straw man just for our own entertainment purposes. But like, what would the flat earth?
There actually used to be a lot more of them, but some of them got drunk and fell off the edge.
Yeah, exactly. You just like, oops, won't see him no more. All right, let's get into what matters. Austin Prock scheduled to join us. I hope it all works out because he is traveling. And I know all those JFR fans have got to be amped up. But let's talk about John Force winning 156. Beats Matt Hagan. Rain postponed final round. The sad thing is we only had 24 hours to really digest it, actually less. But this is, for me, it is a big moment. Not that I never thought that John Force was not going to win ever again, but every racer will tell you, nobody knows when they're going to win again. And he got it. And it's life for that team. And it's such a big moment to be there for 156 for John Force.
Yeah, and it's been a while since he's done it, and I think that's another part of what made it so special. If he had won 6 races last year or 4 races last year, and you wins another one, chalk that up. But I think there were a lot of people, because it had been more than a year since he'd been in the winner's circle, that were genuinely starting to wonder, can he still get it done? Can this driver, can this team still get out there and compete and win races? So that I think made it a much bigger deal. And we had a sold out crowd in Phoenix on Saturday. I think that's awesome. We had another one on Sunday, but there were a lot of people there to see him do it. Had he done it in Pomona, with the weather and all the circumstances we had to put up with in Pomona, I just don't. I think the fact that Phoenix has always been a good track for him, and he has a lot of fans in Arizona because he's been there so many times. And I'm not just talking about all 39 of the Arizona Nationals, but I'm talking about all of the booked in funny car shows, whether it's the 32 funny car or the Jets versus funny car or the 4th of July spectacular. There were years ago, John was there 5, 6, 7 times a year. I mean, he was one of Charlie Allen's favorite booked in acts to come in when they were doing these things. So he's got a lot of fans in Arizona that all seem to enjoy it. And, good for him. Now let's see if he can build on that momentum a little bit. Like how many times we talked about, right? I believe we can win. Well, now you proved it. And does that make the wins come easier, or does that make the rest of the teams take you a little bit more seriously? Because when you haven't won in a couple of years, I'm not saying anybody goes to start line and goes, "Oh, we got John. This will be easy. Who do we have next round?" But when you haven't won in a couple of years, I think mentally, when a guy looks at the ladder, he goes, "Okay, well, that guy's going to be tough. That guy's going to be tough. That guy hadn't won in 2 years." And I really think that it changes perspective both from how you and your team view yourselves, as well as how the other teams view you.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. You haven't done it until you've done it. And you're only as good as your last win. And so you got 155. Well, that's great, but it's been, a year and change. And now it's been a couple of days and change. So it's exciting. And we could even see it. Now, I had a couple of interactions working NHRA on Fox with Force this weekend. And he's cagey. He's cagey like a fox. He plays that, I'm old kind of game. But when you get behind the sunglasses, he thinks he can win, and he's very confident, and he went out there and he got the job done. I'm real happy for Tim Fabrizi, big WFO listener, supporter, friend of the show, and Chris Cunningham, South Florida guy, of course, Danny Hood. Like they get a win with John Force. Like that's always Danny's got a bunch of them, but that's good for those guys. And he and Hagan putting on a show. Pro Stock, Dallas Glenn over Erica. We're doing Lucas Oil Winternationals finals right now. No offense to Dallas, but I think Erica was the favorite, and it was a little surprising. Even Dallas, I feel like. I talked to him as he got in the car, and he goes, I felt better in Pomona, and he goes out there and wins it.
Yeah, and, he got himself a little bit on the starting line, which helped out, and Erica still has a great car. The elite guys are making big power. You just look at the qualifying sheet. Erica still has a great car. She hasn't been quite as sharp on the starting line, though. Definitely not this week, and not in Pomona either. And I have a feeling that that is going to get her on the chip. I think that, she's going to spend some time this week going, okay, what do I have to do to get back where I was? Because there was a time when she was the most feared person on the starting line in pro stock. And at this point in time, I'm not saying everybody's taking her lightly, but she just doesn't seem to have that edge that she had at one point. And I think that this weekend is going to motivate her to get back, whether it's back to the practice tree, whether it's doing stuff to the car, whatever it's got to be. But I think this weekend is going to motivate her and the team to get it back where they need to be.
Well, as on the chip, as in the chip, Erica and I had a conversation about exactly this on the starting line. And as you know, it was a very tricky situation out there, right? And so she had told me that they had to chip down the starting line considerably to get the car to leave. And she told me this yesterday, right? Or whenever it was, Saturday, Sunday. And that is directly connected to reaction time. And so to get the car to leave, they were having to sacrifice some reaction time. And, it's not the only reason, but the fact that it came out of her mouth before the race, I felt like validates it. And everyone was struggling. Like Greg Anderson said it in the media center. He goes, it's good that every race isn't the same, as in some are tricky. And he goes, we outraced them today, talking a little bit about the final round of the Arizona Nationals, as opposed to outpowering them.
Well, that's true. And what Erica said is 100% true. When you lower the starting line RPM, that's going to slow the reaction time of the car a little bit. But that's true across the board. So if I'm 200s quicker than you all the time, and we both chip down 500, I should still be 200s quicker than you, because that, again, is going to affect everybody. So, and the racetrack was, as you said, a little bit tricky, especially for the pro stock guys. The first 100, 150 feet or so, we saw a number of cars in qualifying that were shaking and rattling, and you've got to adjust for that. Everybody has the same racetrack to race on. And if that means you have to chip down 400 or 500 to get it moving, and if that means that you can only run, 658 instead of 655, that's what you got to do. Because if you can't run 655, pretty good chance again, the other lane's not going to be able to do that either. So you just have to do what you can do to get your car to go down the racetrack, and then you still have to do your job on the starting line. And I agree also with what Greg said. I think if every racetrack was a 101 correction factor and every starting line was absolutely perfect and no racetrack had a bump in it, I don't think pro stock would be as interesting as it is, because you have to adapt to those things. And a pro stock car is the most adjustable vehicle, I believe, in drag racing. You've got suspension stuff you can do ride height stuff, you can tire size, you can do every gear in the car except high gear in the transmission. But you can change the rears, you can change first gear, second gear, third gear, you can change clutches, you can change starting line stuff, you can change everything. You can move 5 pounds here or there in the car. They are so adjustable that when you get into conditions that are a little bit different, the one who figures it out more often than not is going to be the one that goes home with the trophy. And it looked in qualifying like the elite guys had figured it out. I mean, they qualified at the head of the field, a couple of hundreds in front of everybody else. Jeg and Erica were separated by 1,000, but they had the rest of the field covered. But then on race day, it really looked like the KB Elite or the KB Titan guys made better adjustments to get their cars down the racetrack, and they ended up racing each other in the final and taking home the trophy.
Yeah, big deal for those guys. And we'll get into it. We're hoping to be joined by Austin Prock, who is out on the road, headed to Vegas. John Force Racing fans like Kara. We know Kara. Kara is so excited for John Force Racing. Yeah, if you're excited for John Force Racing, this is the show for you. And they're looking pretty good. Then again, Jimmy Prock in Arizona, that's pretty good. Like, Robert's driving, Austin's driving. It was a wild, eventful day for Austin Prock. I'm super excited for this kid, though, because this is what they've wanted their whole life. Hearing Austin talk about him and his brother Thomas having to go racing in midgets by themselves without their dad, because their dad has a job and he's racing on the weekends. And he told them, hey, kids, like, if you want to go racing, you can, but you got to go by yourselves. And Austin talking about him and his brother, like, building the cars and loading them up at 10 years old, and Jill driving them to the track, and then the boys handling it all. No wonder that they're so far ahead of their age with their drag racing experience. That's a great story. And I think Austin Prock, we all know this, right? But it's happening now. We knew he's a great story, but it's happening now with this win in Funny Car. He's won in Top Fuel and Funny Car.
Well, since you mentioned Top Fuel and Funny Car, he's the 19th person to do that. How many of those names do you think you could come up with?
Oh, I don't know. Kenny Bernstein, Don the Snake, couple others.
Who's the most recent?
Austin Prock.
Before him?
Oh, I don't know. J.R. Todd.
Oh, you're gonna kick yourself.
It's this trivia. I'm so bad at it. Everybody knows that. I get like a pass when it comes to a trivia.
Get something to hit yourself in the head with. You ready?
All right. Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I got a can of Fog It here, available on Amazon and Summit Racing Equipment. Go.
Blake Alexander last year in Norwalk.
You know what? I wouldn't have got that one. Sorry, Blake. Sorry, Blake. I wouldn't have got that one. I love Blake, but I wouldn't have got that one. Yeah, Blake got that Top Fuel win way back.
He's got a couple of Top Fuel wins, actually. That was his first funny car win. Shawn Langdon has done them both.
Yep.
J.R. Todd.
Yep.
Bill Worsham, of course. He's won championships in both.
Yeah. Yes.
Gary Selzy, who's won championships in both. Tommy Johnson.
TJ.
Ron Capps. Jim Head, who is part of a much smaller list, who has won Indy in both Top Fuel and Funny Car. And there's only about 4 guys that have done that. Scott Coletta. A lot of people remember both of his Top Fuel championships, but don't remember that his first win came in a funny car, just like they don't remember Ron Capps' first win came in a dragster, and everyone since then's been in a funny car. Mike Dunn, of course. Ed the Ace McCullough. Tom McEwen. You mentioned Kenny Bernstein. He's also won championships in both. Frank Hawley has won in both. Gene Snow. Don Perdome. And the one that most people, I think, wouldn't get, even though they still see the guy, hear his name every week because he's at the racetrack all the time, Mark Oswald has won in both.
That's right, Mark Oswald. All right, and speaking of which, he's going to join us now, ladies and gentlemen. He just got the job done in funny car, Mr. Austin Prock. What's up, Austin? How are you?
Hey, man.
Doing good, Joe.
Oh, you sound great.
How you doing, Alan?
That's all the guests of the future. This is how you do audio. Whatever Austin is doing, this is how it's supposed to sound.
What are those glasses you got on your face?
These are Ray-Ban smart glasses. That's how I'm listening to you guys.
All right.
Okay. And are you videoing? You're videoing the show with us? You getting your own video clip of this? Well, what else do you use?
Yeah, hold on. Everyone smile. All right, just got a photo.
Thank you. So what else do you use those glasses for, Austin?
Honestly, I use them here in the airport. Love listening to music. And this week I did a POV with Prock. I'm making a new reel for social media, seeing things through my eyes. And other than that, I can't say what I do with them.
Okay, I was going to say, it sounds like, all right, let's just move a little bit forward. I know this is so meaningful to you. The emotions, your dad, your brother, but now it's happened, right? Win together in the funny car, NHRA national event, hoisting the Wally. And boy, you had to earn it. Like you drove the wheels off the car. It was an eventful weekend for you.
Yeah, it was definitely huge. Very special. And like you said, we did earn it. You said I drove the wheels off of it, but I almost drove it into the fence too. So definitely exciting day. Battled a lot of adversity, and that racetrack was not easy to get down. Huge high track temps and a lot of bumps down there, and just had to hang on, and we were good enough to get the job done.
Alan?
Well, when your team comes in as a defending event winner, Robert won the thing last year. That's got to give you a little bit of extra confidence. Your dad has had a lot of success there over the years, so that certainly has got to help. You qualifying, the car looked great. Have you sat down and actually considered, though? Joe and I just ran down the other 18 people before you that could claim they've won national events in both fuel classes. Have you actually sat and thought about your name being on such an exclusive list? Now, 19 people in the history of the NHRA have done what you've done.
Yeah, no, that's pretty special. I mean, John Forsey's obviously given me a great opportunity and given me the chance to drive in both categories. And we always have the best parts and pieces. And, we were able to get the job done in both categories, which is really special. Don Perdome, Kenny Bernstein, this list is just amazing. And to see my name on there and, to be one behind my buddy Blake Alexander is really special.
I just want to point out he named the same two that I named, Reinhart. He said Don Perome, Kenny Bernstein. I said Don
But then
Perome.
he said, But then he said Blake Alexander, and you couldn't come up with that one. So
you just said it.
That.
I don't know if he knew that. Austin, did you know that off the top of your head that it was Blake?
Of course he knew.
Yeah,
that.
no, I was trying to hint you give you a hint there, but I don't know if you could see me yet or not.
No, I couldn't see. I am traditionally very bad at like trivial stuff, but still great. Everybody's out there saying congratulations to you. And I don't know, the character, your character seems to fit Funny Car so much better. Let's talk a little bit about the round by round and how you got to the end and just the challenge of the weekend, right? Like what was going on out there. Bobby Lagana told me for the TV show that the fact that we were at Firebird at a much later date in the year changed all the notes, the UV, the sun, everything. Like everyone was kind of flying from the seat of their pants. Your dad has got a great tune-up, but just tell me about the round by round and your approach. And of course, in the first round, you were able to go out there and win it with a pedal job against Buddy Hull, right? Hungry Racer was out there and you got around him.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, the track was really tricky and you definitely had to be on your game as a driver and as a crew chief. The crew chief job is way more stressful than mine. I'm in on the radio now and in the race car, and I hear everything that's going on. And man, my dad and brother and Nate going back and forth, flipping through their notes, trying to sort out how to get down this racetrack. And first round, it spun. A lot of people did in the exact same spot, and you just got to drive the car. You got to be ready for anything. And I subtracted 12 whacks off the throttle and got it down there in one nice smooth motion. So it was good. It was, we got the round win. I saw a lot of fuel coming out the windows. It looked like fire hoses when I was driving down there, but I threw the hook out there and I could just see myself reeling Buddy in and stayed in it as long as I could and got the win. So second round, I felt like a hero, or I felt like a hero after first round. I felt like I did a really good job pedaling the race car and maybe got a little too overconfident and almost took the wall down. Me and that finish line flag we made eye contact down there at about 270 mile an hour. And I figured that was a good time to lift. And we probably missed the wall by an inch. Like it was a really close call. My butt was puckered for sure. And the Prock rocket bailed me out in the semifinals. I got drilled up there and, getting in my own head. And Prock rocket bailed me out. And in the final round, seventh time was a charm. I chopped the tree down and we made a really nice run.
You mentioned the semifinals. Let's go back to that one a little bit. A rematch of the Gainesville final. Do you keep score? I mean, especially you're so new in Funny Car right now. It's the second time you've raced JR. The first time he stole the trophies from you down there in Florida. Do you think about that? Does that play into the mental game at all when you're going to the starting line?
Yeah, a little bit. He's a points leader, so you want to take him out, and you always want to get revenge. Nobody out here likes getting beat, and we got the job done when it counted. So, yeah, definitely that was a huge round win. I think I said in my top end interview, we were a class favorite after that. Everybody liked seeing the points leader go out, and we got the job done by a few thou. So I could hear him out there the whole time, and I made sure I tossed the laundry a little bit early to lose that 10 pounds, and maybe that was the difference.
Alexis,
2,000th of a second at the stripe. Everything helps. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, maybe it did. Alexis in the final round, she was having a magical day. Struggled in qualifying, coming off a DNQ, and that is a happy place for her, right? She got her first win there. You guys racing the track, racing yourselves, but you allow yourself to think about, man, Alexis is really having a comeback weekend.
Yeah, no, that was cool. Like when I figured out we were racing her in the final round, I'm like, man, like how great of a sport is drag racing? You got the number one qualifier in the 16th or 15th qualifier, whatever she was, going at it for the Wally. You never really know what's going on or what's going to happen in NHRA drag racing. And that's really exciting for the fans. So, yeah, Alexis, she's a great competitor. Love Del Worsham. A lot of respect for Del. He is he's another one on the list. We didn't even mention Del.
Yep.
Del's badass. So yeah, a lot of respect for that team over there, and we were able to get it done. My dad, brother Nate, and this whole Cornwall team is just doing an outstanding job. Read the track right and made a beautiful run there in the final.
Well, not a lot of time to celebrate. As you mentioned, you're already on your way to Vegas, where we'll start on Friday.
Do
you want the whole list? I've got it right here.
Yeah, no, Cunningham, he's sitting next to me right now. He's like, hey man, what about Selzy? What about Selzy?
There he is.
And we got Fabrizi here too.
Awesome. So happy for those guys. How big a deal,
because you missed it. Don Perdome, Mark Oswald, Gene Snow, Frank Hawley, Kenny Bernstein, who won championships in both, Tom McEwen, Ed McCullough, Mike Dunn, Scott Coletta, Jim Head, Ron Capps, Tommy Johnson, Gary Selzy, Melanie Troxel, the only female on the list, Del Worsham, JR, Sean Blake, and now you. No time to celebrate though, right? I mean, we start racing again Friday in Vegas, going at it 4 wide.
Did you hear that? Mine cut out.
Pretty good list. Yeah, whatever. You know. He says, but about going 4 wide there, Austin. Like, look ahead to that.
Your first funny car 4 wide experience.
What was that?
Your first funny car 4 wide experience. I know you've got experience in the dragster, but not being able to see out of the funny car and hearing them from both sides might be a little bit different.
Tim, did you hear what they said? What was the question? Oh, yeah. Well, so the first time, see, Tim's helping me out right now. My phone's breaking up and he's getting the good footage. First time I drove a funny car was actually in Vegas, and actually raced with Fabrizi and Danny Hood and Brian Crotty. And I'm looking forward to it. I like the 4 wide because it's something new. I grew up circle track racing. Everywhere you went, it was a different course. You were running on a half mile, you were running on a quarter mile. And for drag racing, that's a little bit like that. It's a different challenge. And after winning Charlotte last year with Cunningham, I got a new love for 4 wide racing. So I'm excited. That track's always pretty quick. And this team has had a lot of success there. And John Force Racing has had a lot of success there. And I want to get a picture with one of them ladies with the feathers in their hat.
Showgirls, man. They're showgirls. All right. I know you're breaking up a little bit, so we'll let you go. I do want to mention there's someone out there on YouTube named Wilkie FC7 who thinks it was a ½ inch from the wall, not 1 inch from the wall.
Yeah.
We know who that is.
He was
in the WFO audience.
Yeah. We got out of the race cars down there and he's like, man, he hit the wall. I seen it. I seen it. I'm like, I didn't hit the wall. The first thing I said on the radio was, I get down there and that about 0.02 of a second when I had some time to think down there. And I realized I didn't hit the wall. I got right on the radio because I knew my dad and brother and that whole team was puckered up there. And I was like, I did not hit the wall. I promise that wind light's true. And it was definitely got that flag, though.
Amazing. All right.
I figured Dan would be over there kicking your headers flat. Go, look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Before we let you go, a quick one. If we come through clearly, just John Force winning 156. You got Tim there. You got Danny there. Here you are, young athlete. John is the leader of the team. For him to score a victory, got to be huge for everyone. Just give me your take.
Tim, did you get that?
Help him, Tim. Help him out, Tim.
$156 for Force. That's unbelievable. I mean, the guy's, what is he, 75 years old and he's still getting the job done. But it really is a testament to that team. That team's doing a great job. That car flies. It really does. And, John's doing a good enough job to get the job done still. And really happy for him. I don't know if I've been that proud in a long time, seeing him get out of that car and hoist that Wally again. That was really special. And I love being able to race with John. And, I feel like this year he's got a little bit of new life back in him, and I hope that I'm a part of that. And just got to keep on keeping on. I know when his head's straight and he's in the game, he's tough to beat. I guarantee you there's nobody in the pits that likes rolling up next to that car and rolling up next in the beams to him. So, yeah, really special, and I guarantee you that car's going to win a lot more this year.
All right, Austin. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Safe travels to Vegas. Say hi to the guys, and we'll see you in a few days. Congrats on the win. That's it. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
There he goes. Austin Prock. The glasses were a hit. He sounded great. He couldn't hear us exactly, but I think it worked. That should be standard issue for everybody doing interviews out there.
Well, I don't know. Not if you can't hear.
Well,
didn't he say where's those things in the airport so you can listen to music? I mean, come on. Sound like a half word.
I have 100 questions, but I'm just going to let them all go and move forward. How about Fabrizi with the note, though? No, like I said, I was happy for Tim Fabrizi. He's been a big supporter of WFO for a long time. Chris Cunningham too. For those guys to get together and win with force, just awesome. Just awesome. And now, the season, right? I don't want to say it's turned upside down because we're right at the start. So we're just kind of figuring it all out. But Alexis is coming around. JR is making a case that the Big Four could become the Big Five. John Force, this is a wide open affair as we go into our 4-wide season. Any final thoughts on Funny Car, Alan, before we move forward? Is there anything else out there that we didn't get? I know Paul Lee had a really good car. Can you explain what happened to Paul Lee's car for everybody out there? Johnny Lindbergh was devastated. I talked to him on the starting line. I'm like, hey, man. And you could see like he was gutted because they had an opportunity. They had a friendly ladder. They're never easy. But that ladder, you could look at it and make a case that they could have gone to the semifinal or final round.
Well, they had a car that really looked like it could run with anybody all weekend long. They made good runs, and not just like one. They had a car that they looked like was in a comfort zone. Something when they fired it up for what was the second round, I believe, triggered the safety system and disconnected the throttle. And every car out there has got there's an air cylinder. I think everybody has now switched over to this. There used to be a couple of different types, but I think everybody's on the same one now because it's like so simple and basic and doesn't weigh anything. There's an air cylinder that is literally on the throttle linkage right on the edge of the injector. And if something is sensed wrong in the car, pan pressure, blower backfire, some guys have oil pressure, some guys, you can hook the thing up a couple of different ways. It will disconnect the throttle. Simple as that. And when they came in, rolled through the water, started doing the burnout, something triggered the system and it disconnected the throttle. So the car will idle, but that's all it'll do. And my understanding with the system is the only way to reset it is to shut the car off. And it's an electrical system, but you have to shut the car off in order to reset the computer, is my understanding. They couldn't do it. They shut the car off and pushed it off on the starting line. I did get a couple of emails that said, why wouldn't you just stage the thing? Right? I mean, who knows? The other guy goes red. It's, why wouldn't you? And I can't answer that question. I'm guessing that probably nobody thought of it, or they just decided, you know what, let's not mess with Blake. We know our car's broken, so let's not screw up his race, and we'll come back and get him next week. But I think Paul's feeling pretty good about the way his car is running. If you're really curious about how that disconnect works, send me an email. I got about 60 of them over after Sunday afternoon when I mentioned that at the event that I've got pictures and an explanation on how the system works, but it's there simply for safety. If the driver's headed down the racetrack and the thing burns a piston or blows a gasket inside or does something, pan pressure is one of the big things that sets it off. And all it'll do is it'll shut the throttle. It doesn't throw the parachutes out. It doesn't apply the brakes. It just shuts the throttle. So you hopefully have a minor engine problem that doesn't turn catastrophic. But if it happens at 800 feet, you might still coast to the victory where throwing the chutes out would come back and bite you in the tail. So it triggered on the starting line. It disconnected the throttle. The car wasn't going to go anywhere when Paul hit the gas, so they just shut it off.
Excellent. I mean, it's not excellent. It happened. It's an excellent explanation of what happened. I feel bad for Paul and Johnny and John, but I feel good for them too, because this is a different kind of story, right? Like they had a really great hot rod. And like Paul told us a couple of weeks ago, it's in the archive, folks. For those of you watching out there on PowerTube TV, you can go and check out our archive and go back and find any of these interviews, that if he starts off strong, he's going to keep on going and maybe run the full season. I think they're making the argument for more races early, because they are, are they ready to break through for a win? They're ready to break through for good, consistent running. And I think you got to give Johnny Lindbergh as many laps as I spoke with Johnny a bunch of times this weekend, right? Great stuff. Give him as many laps as he can get, because he's learning like rapidly. He is a rapid learner, and he's in command of this deal with John Medlin.
Well, he's a detail guy, and he's also an aggressive guy. You don't set the records and win the races he did in alcohol funny car if you're not. And he's been around the nitro cars long enough. There's still plenty for him to learn, and he would be the first one to tell you that. But he's been around the nitro cars long enough that he's getting into a little bit of a comfort zone now. And I think they've got a car that's ready to contend. You look at the performance numbers, you looked at what they did in qualifying and what they did throughout the course of the weekend, and I firmly believe they've got a car that is ready to start contending. It was just kind of a strange day. Bob Tasca looked like he had a car that was very capable. It was a number 2 qualifier. He comes up in the first round, hit the gas, the car didn't go a foot. They came out yesterday during the test session in Phoenix, same time of day, same basic conditions, and set the car up exactly the same way. It went 387. I mean, they clicked it off at 800 feet, but it was going to run 387. And so that's one of those deals that gets, Aaron and the guys going, what? Just tell me why. If you tell me why, I can fix it. But they made 3 more runs, and the car every time went right straight down the racetrack. So they can't get to Vegas fast enough, because they still believe that they've got a car that can go out there and win. And I believe the same thing. Matt Hagan had a really tough outing in Phoenix, losing to John in the final for the Pomona final on Saturday, and then going out first round also on Sunday. I mean, that was kind of a forgettable weekend for those guys, and they're the same thing. I think they cannot wait to get to Vegas and get started again.
Well, they don't have long to wait, right? Like, we're going to be out there. It's a little 4-wide mini season. The 4-wide mini season is super exciting. I'm really hoping that I know that the people at NHRA are searching for a sponsor for these 2 races, for like the 4-wide double up bonus that we've been talking about for the past couple of years. Like, you win both 4 wides, you get some sort of extra bonus just to sweeten the deal. But I really like the 4-wide back-to-back season going on. But let's dive into funny car. Then I got a video that I want to show you and get your take. I want your opinion. But fans of Top Fuel, share the show, retweet the show. And I want to remind everybody, while we got a big audience out there, the WFO app is going away. Resubscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts. That's the audio-only version of the show. And YouTube for the video version of the show. And you will be totally up to speed. You'll get everything just like you did. And if you want notifications, you want to know where the WFO meetups are, you want to know when the WFO merch is on sale, follow WFO Radio on X, or me, WFO Joe, on Twitter and Instagram, and you'll be good to go. Justin Ashley and Tony Schumacher. We had Tony on the show last week. I love the fact that we hyped the final rounds for a week. Caesar had the odds head-to-head in the final rounds. Justin goes out there, is 23 on the tree, then comes all the way back to the final round, has got a chance for like a triple-double, back-to-back race wins, back-to-back Arizona Nationals, back-to-back, actually 3 in a row Winter Nationals. I think nobody else has won the Winter Nationals 3 times in a row. I don't even know if that's true. You tell me. But Shawn Langdon spoils the deal, and he goes 2 out of 3. Shawn Langdon and Brian Houston. Houston was so emotional on the starting line. I loved it. You could see how much he cares about this opportunity, and another like fresh young crew chief, relatively speaking, Brian, but getting his opportunity and making the most of it. Top Fuel was awesome, both races.
It was. Doug Collette has won the Winter Nationals 3 consecutive years, for the record. And Justin, Tony Schumacher won the Too Fast, Too Tasty Mission Food Challenge from Pomona, that was another interesting thing, that we had all the extracurricular racing going on the Saturday. But it's astounding to me that, it's only the second time Tony'd been in that thing. But when he lost the Pomona final to Justin on a hole shot, and we talked to him at the top end of the racetrack, and he owned it. He said he firmly believed that, and again, the conditions at Wild Horse were a little tricky, just with the sun on the racetrack and the stuff. Everybody had to deal with it. He said, I didn't think that they were both going to go down the racetrack. He said, I was ready to pedal. I was ready to do whatever I had to do. And he said, I was more focused on that than anything else. And he was 80 on the tree, which against Justin's 23 got him in trouble and cost him the race because Tony did outrun him. Now, because the drag racing gods have a sense of humor, and I said this on the PA as soon as qualifying was over, Justin on his last run, which was the Pomona final, also counted for qualifying for the Phoenix event, and he moved on the ladder. And so that meant Justin and Tony Schumacher were going to race again first round Sunday morning. And Tony was like, I'm out for revenge. I feel like I made the mistake. I let my team down. I let this one get away. Yeah, I know he's probably the best lever in the class, but I shouldn't have been 80. He said, if I'm my normal 55, 60, we win the race, which is true. So he goes up there Sunday morning, revenge on his mind, and lost again on a whole shot again. And I guarantee you there are a lot of fans right now, whether you're pro Tony or pro Justin or anti-Tony or anti-Justin, that I think that is going to be one that garners a lot of fan interest going forward. I hope they race each other 3 times when we get to Vegas, which is possible. You know, you could run in the first quad, both advance, run in the second quad, both advance, run in the final. But I really think that even though neither driver's throwing rocks at the other one, I really think that, you know, most of the fans have got a favorite between one of those two. And I think that that's going to be one that fans are going to be keeping an eye on. I hope they race each other every week.
Yeah, it's there's a lot going on there, right? Because Justin is not that way. He's not going to ever say anything like controversial or provocative, especially about an opponent. Like, this is not his style. People have said he's, too polished and all of that. And I've had a lot of conversations with Mike, his dad, and Justin. And Mike's like, the kid is the opposite of me. Right. He's like, I guess he saw me and said, I'll be different because Justin is just about business. Right. Tony is a little different. Like, he gave us a little something last week, but Tony Pedregon called him a soul taker on the starting line. And that's kind of how I felt when we watched it the second time. Like, man, 2 whole shot losses to Justin Ashley. Like, that'll take your soul. But I feel like Tony Schumacher's team is continuing to get better. They have not maxed out just yet. And I actually think it's probably a good thing. We're seeing it with Greg Anderson for these, excellent veteran drivers to get backed into a corner. They kind of, come out fighting. And so I think we're going to see Tony Schumacher's best racing ahead of him. Wanted to mention Krista Baldwin. That's 75, long time coming, investing in herself, got Dakin's car, already showing best run ever, 75. I was really hoping she'd go some rounds, but those are coming.
I think so too. Yeah, there's a lot going on out there right now. We've got some pretty good cars out there. She made her career best run, qualified in the top half for the first time ever, had lane choice in round 1 for the first time ever. She chose to be first pair down the racetrack, which she didn't have to be, but I think that she was in a position where it's like, look, I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do this again. I want to be the one out there. I want to hear the anthem. I want to be there and I want to be the first pair fired and down the racetrack. Unfortunately for her, the thing took the tires off as soon as she smashed the gas. So that was going to be the end of her day, but she's got herself the best race car that she's ever had right now. And I think that that's a team that's ready to start going some rounds and making some noise also. But yeah, Shawn Langdon, great race car, 2 out of 3, like he said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And, the last couple of years, he said it's difficult to not get down when you're not competitive. You're not in a position where you're threatening to win races. You're not, and you don't, we have everything, right? It's not like, gee, those guys have a bigger budget than us. Gee, those guys do more R&D than us. Gee, those guys have got better parts than us. They have everything, and we're not getting results. And so a little personnel swap over there at Coletta Motorsports, and all of a sudden, here come the results. So they're, feeling pretty good right now, riding high, and they should be. I think that they're going to be a force all year long. But I think there's a few others out there too that are going to wake up and start getting involved. Tony Stewart got his first round win in Top Fuel. Then he got his second round win in Top Fuel. And then he made his best run of the weekend and got his butt kicked in the semifinals, because that's just the way racing is sometimes. Brittany Force looks like her car, even though she was an early exit this weekend, looks like her car is starting to get a little bit more consistent like they were in the championship years. So Hey, if I'm Shawn, I'm banking these things as much as I can and riding the wave. And that the rest of the field is going to close the gap a little bit before the end. So you just, you starting off on a high and see how long you can ride it. Hopefully for them, they can ride it all season long.
So what I'm about to say is I don't know this for certain, but I feel like for the past couple of years, getting Doug Coletta a world championship has been job one, everybody, all hands on deck, Coletta Motorsports, right? And now that job is mission accomplished, I feel like Shawn, who has been, dutifully racing out there, doing his best, knowing that, Doug's got to win a championship. And Doug won a championship. And so I feel like this could be the year of Shawn and Brian and 2 out of 3. Who knows where it goes? Justin gets a lot of love for being a great lever. Shawn Langdon has always been a great lever. He is a world champion. He doubled up kind of this weekend, right? Like tuning for Madison Payne, doing all the throttle stop stuff. I heard some great stories about him popping out of the car on the top end in the fueler and shouting throttle stop ratio numbers to someone on a scooter that then delivered them back to Madison Payne for the Super Comp car. Like amazing drag racer, hardcore stuff that nobody understands. But I don't know. I'm feeling like, man, we could have a year of Shawn Langdon.
Well, he's starting off to a good start, and it's just going to be a matter of, keeping riding the momentum. And I, teasingly told Brian Houston in the winner's circle, kind of like I did in Gainesville, I said, always knew if you ever got out from under Alan Johnson's thumb, you could really be something. And he said, don't say that too loud. He said they're still working very closely together and sharing information, doing everything they need. Right now, it just seems like it's all clicking on the Coletta Air car. And, again, you've got to ride those waves when you can. We've seen it time and time again over the years in racing. Sometimes things just go your way, right? You win the close ones. You win the pedal jobs. When you need luck, you get luck. I mean, look at Shawn in the first round. He went 18 seconds. You get those runs. And then sometimes that tide just turns against you and you do everything right and still get your teeth kicked in every week. So I don't think I understand what you're saying about, Doug Coletta getting a championship certainly was a major focus of Coletta Motorsports. But I don't think that Shawn was a sacrificial lamb for that. I don't think they were using his car for R&D. I don't think that, I think that they just never really got that thing running like it needed to. And, and again, sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right combination of, parts and people and stuff to make it all work. You can take the greatest players in the history of the game and put them on an all-star team, and they're not necessarily going to be the greatest team in history. You've got to find the people that have the chemistry, the people that work good together, and you've got to have, you've got to have a little karma or a little good fortune or a little whatever you call it on your side. Right now, it looks like they got it all going on.
Well, and we'll see it all play out. Like, that's why you got to watch, right? We have sold out race. That's why you got to come to Vegas. That's why you got to watch NHRA TV or NHRA on Fox, because it's going to be a roller coaster all season long. Yeah, Shawn beat Antron Brown, Steve Torrence, and Justin Ashley en route to victory. So that's a pretty good day. Travis Shoemake made his debut. I want to shout out to Travis. He did well. Jasmine with another race under her belt, like Sean Reed. That team getting a round win. Rob Wendland was pretty happy with the way that they're directionally correct. Any final thoughts on Top Fuel before we move forward to a couple of things?
No, I think you touched on most of it. Like I said, it was good to see Travis finally get out there and make his debut. I'm not sure when we're going to see him again. Their post-race press release said they're, aiming for Chicago. So it would be nice if something could come together for that team before that. Jasmine and her team was running yesterday, just trying to get some more laps, trying to get the comfort zone, trying to get. That's a team. That's a really good race car. It is the same race car, the same team, the same stuff that, that Mike Salinas has been driving. So once they get everything figured out there, and they might be dealing a little bit with a balance issue, kind of like Tony Stewart's team is, when you move 30 or 40 or 50 pounds around, it changes the balance of your race car. Now for Team Salinas, because Mike is a little heavier than Jasmine, if they wanted to just put some ballast in the seat, they could do that. Put it right there in the driver's compartment. Whereas for Tony, it's a little bit different. He's 50 pounds heavier than Leah. Well, you can't take 50 pounds out of there. So, you've got to figure out where you can take weight, what you can do to get the balance of the car where you really want it.
Tony should just drive Mike's car and Jasmine should drive Leah's car.
You think that's what it should be?
No, you can't do that. You can follow him on X, NHRA Reinhart. He tweets all kinds of good stuff most of the time. Not always, though. Give us a retweet right now, Alan, since you got your phone open. All right, couple of things that unfortunate stories. Larry Dixon Sr., Larry's dad. This is something we talk about all the time. Like, as you're fortunate enough to know many wonderful people, you will experience more personal tragedy. And that came out during the race on Saturday. And seeing Larry tweet stuff, like, he's known this for years, right? But that the character in the 55 Chevy in American Graffiti was modeled after his dad. That's Falfa, right? Harrison Ford. That is insane. And I didn't know that. And I've watched American Graffiti 5,000 times. I did not know that, right? Like, that's one of those things. I did not know that Larry's dad was the origin of the Harrison Ford character in American Graffiti. I did not know that. Well, and it's just, I feel terrible for Larry.
Lucas grew up in the Valley. And back in the day, the two hottest cars in the Valley were a guy that had a 33 yellow coupe and a guy that had a 55 Chevy. And I don't believe, the stories I've read anyway, that race ever actually took place. But basically, if you were on this side of the Valley, that coupe was the fastest car out there. And if you were over here, the guy that was absolutely king of the street for the decade was the 55 Chevy, and the 55 Chevy was Larry Dixon Sr. But he, a guy that did so much, lived so much, and passed obviously the love of racing on to his son, who accomplished so much and did so much and is still involved with the sport. But Father Time is undefeated. And the fact that, Larry got to grow up going to the races with his dad and had such a tremendous relationship with his dad for so many years. And his dad got to be there for a number of the big moments in Larry's career. I think the guy lived a full life. It's just, I was talking to one of my friends here the other day about that. It's no matter how prepared you think you are, it's still just a terrible, terrible day when that news comes through. And, you lean on your friends, you lean on your family. And in this case, he's got great family and he's got the racing community. And, I think he knows that we're all here for him if he needs anything. But you just have to kind of put one foot in front of the other and keep moving. And, you think back, and the great memories will help erase the sadness a little bit quicker, I think.
Yeah. Again, Larry, everyone out there, family of Larry, like, we're with you. We're thinking about you. But keep those cool stories coming, because, not all of us have heard them all. Certainly I didn't know that one. And I think it's, as a fan of American Graffiti, the movie, part one, not so much part two, even though part two had the great drag racing, like drag strip, Milner goes pro drag racing kind of. The first half of it was great. Very Goodfellas. Like, the first half of it was great. Second half, not so much. All right.
I saw the second one.
You didn't?
No, I don't think I did.
Watch the first half. It's at drag strip. Is it Orange County? Is it, like, I don't know where it is, but they're at the whole first half. I think it starts out at a drag strip. And I think Steve Evans is involved. Some of our, the first half, but then, it's like a metaphor for the era, right? Starts out drag racing, first half, fun, cool stuff. Second half, Vietnam, right? Kind of like very, very real change from lighthearted fun, serious drag racing fun, to the difficult, challenging discussion of Vietnam in American Graffiti 2. But you can go check that out. I would recommend the first half, certainly.
I'll look it up.
Okay, another bit of a bummer. Then I'm going to lighten it back up. But Camry Caruso, we love Camry. Young, fresh face. NHRA Drag Racing had a horrific and nightmarish incident. Saw and spoke with Camry on the starting line for NHRA on Fox. I know Galvin spoke with her also. She says she's going to be back. She was very appreciative to everybody out there in the drag racing community for reaching out and supporting and rallying around her. Just gotta mention that, and how it was, let's call it terrifying to see that happen.
Well, it was a tough weekend for her. They struggled to get the car through the first part of the racetrack, like a number of the teams did. And in final qualifying, After the car was making a move towards the center line, she took her foot off the throttle, which is absolutely positively the right thing to do. And then from where I am, it sounded like she eased back on the throttle just to drive it down the racetrack, right? Instead of coasting down here and wasting all this time, just ease back on the throttle and drive it down and get the thing out of the way. And then as she passed the finish line, the thing hung a hard left into the wall. I had never heard officially if something broke or something, what happened, but it just, it made a pretty abrupt left, hit the wall, came back across and hit the other wall. And, she did end up, and she's put it on her Facebook page and spoke to us at the racetrack. She does have a broken leg, but she's, as you said, very intent on getting healed and getting the car back together and getting back out here, even though it's going to be, a couple of months at least, I think, before that could happen.
Yeah, very, very terrible. The way I experienced it, I was watching on the starting line. I saw her launch. I saw her shake. I looked away. And then I heard like the gasp of the crowd and ended up, turning back and seeing just devastation down there. All we can be thankful for is that Camry is okay, because that was a hard couple of hits. And she'll get back in the saddle. She's got she's a tenacious young lady, and she will get back. All right. So, Alan, I was privy to some things that happened over the course of the weekend. While I was on NHRA on Fox, I was monitoring, and there was something kind of fun happened. And so I want to share with this, Rob from NHRA.tv. I'm sure no one will mind. I want you to, you've been involved in some wagers lately. By the way, I just want to point out, I did win the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza WFO League, by the way. I scored a victory in the WFO League, by the way. Woo, but I'm not making a big deal about that. It's definitely a very small deal. I will make a deal after that. But let's watch this video together.
A little bit of a long shot.
Hey, J-Lo.
I thought Safety Safari needed a shirt. What? They've been working hard.
J-Lo, how good are you? I mean, really, how good are you?
I know, right?
Dinner, Vegas, anywhere you want to go, if you can shoe one that Tim Wilkerson catches. Right
Where's
here in the
Tim?
skag box on the starting line.
Timmy, I got you. Hannah, come take the microphone. I got to shoot one at Tim.
And you're not allowed to give him a laundry basket to start with. If you knock Tim off of the thing, oh, come on. Well, I guess Tim owes us both dinner.
Okay, a little too much power. Let's try this little t-shirt.
Tim didn't
It's
realize
too bad
that
you
was,
couldn't have
he
seen
was part of the bet. Oh, that's
the
gonna
look
be
on
close.
Tim's
That was
face when I
good.
said
That's
goes
gonna
with
be
both dinner.
Watch this.
What an impressive feat of that
No,
athleticism.
whoa. The kid caught it and Tim stole it from the kid? I saw that. You didn't catch that.
Your team.
Oh, you guys are a team? Oh, I got it.
There you
I got
go.
I said it was a team effort. Good job.
There it is. So how about that? Like J-Lo lands one, like right into the basket of Tim Wilkerson.
The second one.
Oh, yeah, but like, come on. Are you giving him one
Joe.
shot? Like two shots?
Joe,
What?
if you're on the 18th tee and you hit the ball and it goes in the water, so you take another ball out of the bag, put it on the tee, and then get a hole in one, what's your scorecard say?
Yeah, you're making a compelling case here. You gave the guy one shot. It sounds like you've thought of this. You're ready to defend your case. His first one was an errant shot. The second one landed right in the basket. And then you see Wilk rip it away from that kid and give the kid a little, like, hey, get out of here, kid. Right?
Yeah, it was
good.
actually kind of fun. When I said when he shot the first one, and I said, looks like Tim owes us both. Where the skag box is, I'm basically, in the room next to him. And Tim turned around and looked at me like, that wasn't the deal. But no, it was, it was good having a little fun with him and having a little fun with J-Lo and the guys out there. And I thought you were going with my my Richard Freeman bet when you said that there was some wagers to be made out there.
Well, you won that one, right? You won that one. You're really heavy into the action lately, right? Like you and I, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza battle. You, Richard Freeman battle. You won that one. You and J-Lo, it's up in the air.
I don't even want to talk about the Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza.
Why not?
Because as a general rule, I try not to publicize stories that make it sound like I'm a complete moron.
Oh,
However,
do tell.
in this case.
Do tell.
Once we got finished with everything Saturday night, you were there. It was late. It was cold, and the jet cars put on a heck of a show. And got back to the hotel, and then I'll worry about that tomorrow. So get in the next day, and then we're racing starting at 8:00, and we raced up until about 20 minutes before. We raced as long as we could race and still get the track prepped and say the prayer and sing the anthem and run top fuel. And so in the morning, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I'm like, top fuel, get the funny car, and then something. And I never got back to it to finish my pro stock ladder and make an official entry. So I got a big old goose egg this week.
Not even DNQ, DNS. You didn't start. So
I never got back to it to finish up my pro stock ladder and then do the, enter. So
and then copy to the WFO league. We need you in that WFO league. I won the league, Alan. I know you're more worried about how I did than how you did, and I appreciate that. I did win the WFO league. That's 129 of drag racing's most knowledgeable people are in the WFO league, and Elon, who has created Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, has told me so that of all the leagues, the WFO league is definitely one of the most active and has some of the greatest minds in all of drag racing, and I defeated them all. I won the entire league, finished 17th overall out of thousands and thousands of people on Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. I finished 17th, top 20. I'm pretty proud.
But you don't want to make a big deal about it or anything.
No, I would never do that because that would be self-aggrandizing, which I am not the kind of person to do such a thing. You know what the best part about it is? I have no idea. I'm watching runs go down that track and I'm like, had a tough day. But I did have Greg Anderson go into the final round. I did have Justin Ashley go into the final round, and it was a tough day for everybody. So,
well, when you have 2:15 qualifiers take down 2 number 2 qualifiers, that's going to open things up considerably. And that's what we had in both top fuel and funny car.
Oh, we got a negotiation going on here. Jason Logan is out there. He says he had to find his range, and he says he'll accept a beer on the second shot as opposed to a full meal at a very expensive restaurant. Deal. Make it so. Make it so, Jason. That's what we do. We're negotiators, and we want everybody to peacefully continue forward in the world of NHRA drag racing. Any final thoughts as we finish up Arizona? The first 3 races, bit challenged. Kevin Rivenbark wins Congruity Pro Mod. That was awesome, cool. Seeing those guys out there. Non-Camaro wins. Thank goodness. I love Camaros, and it's still cool to see that Mustang win in Pro Mod.
Well, it's a cool Mustang. It's a 71 model Mustang, so it's not like, a pro stock style, new gen swoopy aerodynamic. It really does have quite a bit of personality. It's the only one in the field, and Kevin was pretty emotional at the top end. He's been racing with NHRA off and on for a number of years, and first time that he picked up a Wally, so that was pretty cool. The Legends, when Moniz won, that's the first time that they had won a Wally, and that was a big deal for him as well. He was pretty emotional about it, and boy, those Legends funny cars are freaking cool. I mean, really, really cool.
Really cool.
They make a lot of noise. They do big burnouts. They put on a great show. So it was cool that we got to have them there and experience them there. The Super Stock final, a couple of world champions, Brad Burton and Ryan McClanahan. And I'm sitting up there calling the thing, and I said, okay, well, what do you do, right? Because pretty much everybody that races, you go to the starting line with some kind of a strategy, right? And, okay, and if you're racing me, your strategy is probably just don't do anything stupid because this guy's an idiot in it. But when you're racing somebody, and we've talked about this a lot back over the years, when Dan Fletcher and David Rampia get together, when Pete Biondo and Anthony Bertozzi would race each other, what do you do, right? I mean, what's your strategy for winning this race? Ryan's strategy was to be 003 dead one. And pretty good strategy. So there was that. You mentioned
usually that will work.
That will work. Yeah. You mentioned Matty Payne winning. That was cool. Keith Montague won in Phoenix. Big deal. There were a lot of local winners. And again, one of the things that, it was nobody's fault, just the way Mother Nature was on Friday. But this is the 3rd race this year that we didn't get to have the Parade of Champions. And when we had so many Arizona winners and Phoenix winners, it would have been so nice to have a chance to bring them up in front of the grandstands and acknowledge them in front of all their friends and family and stuff that we just simply didn't get a chance to do. But we finished. The Arizona Nationals is in the books.
Yep.
Move on. We can go to Vegas and just concentrate on Vegas. And then the big race after Vegas, the double divisional, we are going to finish, I believe, 6 classes from Pomona. The Lucas Oil stuff and the right trailers, top dragster, top sportsman that didn't get finished in Pomona. We're going to attack all those. Maddie Payne, by the way, I don't know how many people realize that was her first ever Super Comp win. She's got a couple of wins in the alcohol car, but that was the first time that she had won Super Comp at the national event level. So that was cool. And she ended up with a solo in the final. Tim Parker had something leaking when he came out of the water box, and they ended up shutting him off and push him back. But Maddie had been driving well. She won one of the perfect reaction challenge coins earlier in the day. And as you mentioned, Shawn had the car dialed. I saw Shawn yesterday at the test session, and I said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the winning crew chief from Super Comp. And he said, let me tell you, he goes, that's tougher than Top Fuel right now. He's just making those things do what they're supposed to do between, the weather and the breeze and the track conditions. And he said, that's really tougher. He said, my job in the Top Fuel car, sit next thing, hit the gas, don't hit anything. He said, I can do that. But he said, when you got to come up here and take all these other things into consideration to make the Super Comp car repeat. He said, that's actually a taller task. So congratulations to all the winners. It was a wild day, wild weekend, and I'm glad we got it done.
Tony Marconi, stock, Evan Kowalski, super gas, Alan Firestone, top sportsman, Tom Bayer, top dragster. That Tom Bayer, man, he wins a lot in top dragster. And Erica got that Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge from Pomona. JR got the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge from Pomona, and Tony Schumacher. Want to acknowledge all these people who are having success out there. And, here we go again, right? 4 wide mini season. Let's get it out of the way. Yeah, some people don't like 4 wide. You don't have to. We encourage you to listen to the show regardless, but you don't have to like every race exactly the same. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go 4 wide, back to back, Vegas and Charlotte. And oh, by the way, tons of fans are coming to this race that might not have, because they want to see the crazy spectacle that is 4 wide.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the things that 4 wide was designed for. And that's one of the places where I think it really does pay off, is that a number of people want to come see the spectacle. And if that's something that will get somebody to the racetrack, now it's up to us to hook them. It's up to us to convince them that, hey, you need to come back. And, whether it's come back to Vegas in the fall and see it 2 wide, or if you're using it as a destination race, which so many people do going to Las Vegas, when we come to your neighborhood, come see us 2 wide and give us another chance. So that's one thing that 4 wide has been really good at. Even some of my, my most hardcore friends that said from day one, drag racing is man on man. Drag racing is 2 go down, 2 enter, 1 leave, 4 wide, no place in drag. No. But I'd like to see it just once.
Yeah.
And so that's what, 4 wide, one of the things it was designed for is to get people to go, that's new, that's different, that's exciting, and come look at it. And, like I tell everybody, come out and give us a chance firsthand. And if you were at the race on Sunday and you watched the Nitro cars, the Pro Stock cars, the Pro Mod cars, the Legends cars, we had just a ton of sport. If you were there on Sunday and at the end of the day you went, yeah, that's probably not for me, then okay, it's not for you. Thank you for giving us a chance. But Sunday was a race that had a little bit of everything, from drama to upsets to great side-by-side runs to, margins of victory of a couple of inches. We had everything. And so if you came out there and decided it wasn't for you, then it's not for you. It's not for everybody. But give us a shot. And if 4 wide is what it takes to get somebody to come out and give us a shot, come give us a shot. And now it's up to us to turn them into long-term fans. And I firmly believe if we get somebody to the racetrack once, we can turn them into long-term fans.
Yeah. People were having a great time. People were having a great time out there in Arizona. Firebird was awesome. They did a great job. And I think now that there is a future for the facility. Like there's a future, there's a defined future. I think like little things that maybe you didn't want to spend money on to like update or, maintain, because this is it. It's the end. Why should we spend money to maintain? Because we're only going to race here one more time. I think they're going to be able to have some certainty. And what an event it was. Sold out again. Man, they could build some seats there, and I think we would sell them out. It is pretty amazing. Here's one for you. Not to trip you up. I don't think you'll be tripped up, but I'm tripped up. Like I know the answer, but I don't know the answer right now. which is how will the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge work at 4 wide? We're doing it this year. And I had a thought, like, is it just one round with the 4 semifinalists? And someone said, no, it's a different thing. But I don't remember what the different thing is. Do you?
I honestly don't know. No, I'm kind of with you. I would assume that they would go in 4 wide configuration or just line up semifinalists and have at it. But I don't know that.
I think the 8 cars, I think second round is the way it's working. Someone told me, Evan told me, actually. I asked him this question and I'm totally snoozing on it. Sorry, guys. But maybe someone could put some meat on the bone as the week goes on. But it's not just one run with the 4 semifinalists. I know that. I think it's the 8 cars become 4 cars, and then the 4 cars run for the final round of the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge in what we would call the standard 4 wide format. The 2 that cross first are the winner and runner-up.
So the first round winners are all going to be part of the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge?
Nobody quote me on this. This is why I have a show. I can actually say things and be wrong, but that's what I think I was told.
Okay.
And we'll follow that. I'll tweet it, because they want to have 2 rounds. Otherwise, just one round is just one thing. They want to have 2 rounds of the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge. And Dan says, Prock's going to replace Force next year. Eventually, Dan, hopefully not next year, but eventually John Force will decide his career is over and Austin will always have a ride from here on out. But, why
based solely on the only thing that I don't think that this is John Force's last year. I think that he is planning to race at least through 25. And the reason that I think that is very simple. Because when it's John's last year, he's going to proclaim that it's his last year, and he's going to do a farewell tour. They'll have extra this and extra that, and T-shirts and hats and extra events and all the stuff for John for the last time that he visits whatever racetracks he goes to. And since if he retired at the end of this year, he's already been to Gainesville for the last time. He's already been to Phoenix for the last time. That's not happening. John is going to have a full retirement tour. And so he ain't quitting this year.
Excellent. Yeah, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. And everyone needs to be able to say goodbye to John Force whenever that happens. But why would you quit when you're still relevant? He loves doing it. He's still relevant. He's still winning races. He's in the championship title hunt. Why would you go away? That's the whole thing. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more.
And how much crazier would he be driving everybody if he didn't drive the car? Because that would just give him more time to drive everybody crazy.
Excellent point. Get back in the car, John. Get back in the car.
Alan,
great job as usual. We will see you in Vegas.
Thank you. Travel safe. I'll be up there a couple of days from now. Looking forward to it.
Very excited. I'll be flying back across the country. Here we go again. Thank you, Alan.
See ya.
There goes the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. If you're out there on PowerTube TV, thank you for watching our show. I appreciate it. I've been getting a lot of tweets and comments from people who are on PowerTube saying hey, I didn't know this show existed. That's great. You can listen to the podcast, Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to WFO Radio. We encourage you to get it on audio only. That way you can hear the Ignition podcast as well. Our Patreon VIP members get to watch the Ignition show. They get to see the video of it, which is crazy and a lot of fun. They get to hear it from Heiner Show, patreon.com/WFO Radio. Couple of things I want to mention. John Force, national treasure. In what other sport? And some may make the argument that this is a bad thing, that an older gentleman can still compete and beat the world champion who is half of his age in the sport. Some may say, well, that proves it's not that hard. I disagree. Drag racing is a different kind of sport. Yes, it is shorter in duration, but it requires intense mental focus and precision with your moves. Like Chuck Yeager, the fighter pilot, was still Chuck Yeager till the very, very end because it's a different kind of thing. It doesn't take hour-long stamina. It takes 5-minute stamina. And John Force, whatever you want to say, like if you want to fight me on why it's a negative thing, I'm just going to yield and walk away because I think it's the most amazing thing that we have got a gentleman out there, met one in Stock Eliminator on my In the Lanes bit. He's 75 years old. He's in Stock Eliminator, running his car, going out there competing against people, all comers, Drag racing is so great because of that. It's not a negative. It's a positive. You're a young guy. You're a young girl. You're Sienna Wildgust. You're 17 years old. You want to come mix it up. That's great. Meet Greg Anderson. Greg Anderson is in his 60s, and he is going to whoop you, and he's going to come after you, and he can do it as long as he wants until he can't do it anymore, which we haven't gotten to that point. John Force should be celebrated on, I Said World News Tonight. Insert whatever major media outlet that reaches masses, the Today Show, whatever you want. He should be a story on any one of those shows for this victory. The guy is about to be 75 years old on Star Wars Day, also known as John Force's birthday, May the 4th. And a 75-year-old person in a professional sport beating a 30-some-odd-year person who is an athlete who bench presses 300, 400 pounds. Sorry, Hagen, if I got it wrong. Maybe it's 500. Well, whoever knows. I don't know about that stuff. But that is a big deal. It's not a small deal. It's not something to push to the side. John Force should be on the cover, sorry, John, of AARP magazine, right? Like this guy, hey, old people, there's a bunch of people in drag racing your age, and they're whooping up on the young people. Why are we doing that? Or maybe we are. Another thing, NCAA women's college basketball, the highest rated basketball game of the last however many years. More than the NBA, more than, I don't know what the men's game got. Maybe it'll eclipse it. I don't think so. More than the World Series, the women's game. What does that tell us? What does that tell us? It tells us that women want to see women excel. And where else do you have more women excelling than NHRA drag racing? We are not doing as good a job as we should because of a whole bunch of factors that I don't want to go into. We just need to do a better job of promoting the fact that we've got amazing women kicking ass in NHRA drag racing. Madison Payne wins Super Comp. Erica Enders is our dominant world champ. You've got Brittany Force. You've got so many amazing women in drag racing going toe-to-toe with the men and, whooping them, beating them badly. 12.9 million or whatever the rating was for NCAA college basketball, women versus women. Okay, fine. You're telling me that every one of those people was like a diehard college basketball fan. They love hoops. They love college hoops. I know a lot of them were degenerate gamblers. I know that. Just gambling on stuff. People, the masses out there in the world, they still don't know that women race and beat men in NHRA drag racing. They don't know it. They don't know it. Star power sells. That's why something that was rated so high. Yeah, star power. Erica Enders is star power. Brittany Force is star power. We've got it. We've got it. You race against men and beat men in the only sport that I know of where women and men battle against one another. I mean, what other sport? Is that a negative? Should we come up to like Formula One, come up with like a ladies series? Is that the problem? Should there be a women's series? Should all the women have to race each other in a handicap style race, Brittany versus Erica? No, I don't think so. Just food for thought. And speaking of degenerate gamblers, as we wind down, here are the odds for Las Vegas. Doug Coletta is plus 375 is the favorite, as I see it, at the Caesars Sportsbook, available in the Caesars app. Followed by Steve Torrence plus 400, Justin Ashley plus 500, Shawn Langdon plus 500, Brittany Force plus 700, Antron Brown plus 750, Tony Schumacher plus 800, Billy Torrence plus 1200, Tony Stewart plus 1500, plus 1800 Clay, plus 3500 Josh Hart, Jasmine 7,500 and 10,000. Sean Reed, Rob Passy, and Terry Totten is 15,000, along with Rob Passy. Tasca, Hagen, plus 350, the co-favorites in Funny Car. Austin, plus 450. John Force, plus 550. Ron Capps also plus 550. Then J.R. Todd, plus 700. Going to Vegas, folks. We're going to Vegas. Now, I do not wager on any of these things. Erica Enders, the favorite, plus 150 to win Vegas. Yeah. plus 250 for Greg Anderson. Dallas Glenn, plus 550. That's a nice bet right there. Jed Coughlin, plus 900. Nice bet right there. Plus 1,000 for Aaron Stanfield. Hartford's plus 1,000. Still sorting out the new car. Troy Coughlin, 1,600. Christian Quadra, 1,800. And they got Camry on the board. We got to tell them to get that off there. But bottom line is, all the degenerates out there were watching women's basketball, and they were all had a wager on it. It's about star power, but it's also about gambling. Like, there are a lot of people that don't really care about a lot of stuff. For instance, the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza deal, which the overall winner for the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza League was a guy named CJD57, got 75 points, kind of beat up on everybody. The number second was Evan Ahmed. Evan and Med was second. The one that everybody cares about, though, scored 62.07 points, and that was WFO Joe. That's the one everybody's talking about, how WFO Joe has really come alive in the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza and is doing very, very well. That's what everybody is talking about that I know of, including the WFO League, which if you have not joined the WFO League, you should join the WFO League, because now things are changed. Now that I have won once, I can talk a little trash, because I won one time. 62.07 wins the league over 70 Nova and Kaylee Jane, the top three in the WFO League. Way to go, Mike English. 6th place overall. El Jefe was 9th. Galvin, 14th. Good job, Jason Galvin. Got in there. Southern Racer X, Nitro AJ, and many others. 129 people in the WFO League. That is pretty impressive. And you got to go to Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, create a login, and here's the invite code to be in the WFO League. Number 4, capital B, number 5, lowercase c, lowercase o, capital J, capital D, capital W. For those of you that are audio only, if you're looking at the show, it's up on the screen. Final comments in the comments section, real quick, because I'm trying to end these shows in an hour and a half, because I know I got the Jasons over there with Life's a Drag. Like, I hope he gets off on time. More importantly, I hope his audience tunes into us on our YouTube channel, and maybe they will. Maybe they will. Last week they didn't, but maybe they will. These are the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Amazing. Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com. Rodax Coffee. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin, call Marvin, call Marvin. If you haven't called Marvin and you claim to like coffee, then, there's a missing link somewhere, because this is the best coffee. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology for the next generation of machinists. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, FTI, transmissions and torque converters. The Total Seal Challenge, what a great deal that was out there during Congruity Promod. Foggit, get yourself a can, just in case you got to hit yourself in the head because you don't know all 19 of the people who won Funny Car and Top Fuel. Sorry. It's not the kind of stuff I commit to memory. That's why I do an entertainment show. Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com. Go to Bernie's, CWTindustries.com, and Phillips-Connect.com. All supporting WFO Radio. Remember, you can join the Patreon Listener Club, patreon.com/WFO Radio. Just a quick note. This is the kind of activation that we are seeing in Miami, because Formula One is a month away. Red Bull cans with Max Verstappen. Giant point of purchase things for Heineken with a Formula One car on it, right? Like, people are very serious. This is where we need to go. You walk into Publix, that's a grocery store in the Florida area. You walk into Publix, you cannot avoid that there's a big event coming to town. And if you are pretty sharp, you'll figure out that it's a car race. You need to be sharp to figure out that it has something to do with a car race. Like, yeah, there was some sort of something on top of the Heineken bottles. I don't really know what it was. Who knows? Preach, Joe, preach. Yeah, every once in a while at the end of the show. So we'll be in Vegas this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're out in Arizona, thank you for coming out. But if you're in Vegas, come out to the 4 Wide. This whole, I'm not going to the 4 Wide. Not cool. Not cool. Come out and hang with your friends. Jason Logan and myself, we're all going to be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. It is going to be great. Can Austin Prock go 2 in a row? Is Steve Torrence going to come back and dominate everybody the way he has? He's the king of 4 Wide. Indy 500 owns the month of May, and everyone in the city knows NHRA has to step up game for the U.S. Nationals to end the summer at Indy. I think we've had great crowds at the U.S. Nationals. Massive investment in the facility to create a new tower and an entranceway. Everyone's going to want to come see it. Everyone's going to want to see what they've done at Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Super excited about all that, and hopefully you will all be a part of it. All right, guys, I'm out. As far as tomorrow's show, working it out. There may be a show. There may not be a show. Follow us on Twitter. That way you'll know. WFO Radio. That's how you find us on Twitter. And that's it. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.